Coming up on Network Africa, President Bola Tinubu nominates former Chief of Defense Staff Christopher Musa to serve as Nigeria's new Minister of Defense following resignation of Mohammed Badaru. West Africa Regional Bloc ECOWAS says no breakthrough made in talks with coup leaders of Guinea-Bissau. Plus, the World Health Organization congratulates the Democratic Republic of Congo for the end of its most recent outbreak of Ebola. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nominated General Christopher Musa to serve as Nigeria's new Minister of Defense. In a letter addressed to Senate President Godswill Akpabio, President Tinubu recommended General Musa as the replacement for Mohammed Abubakar, who resigned on Monday. According to a statement issued by presidential spokesperson Bayo Ononuga, General Musa is a highly respected military officer who served as Chief of Defense Staff from 2023 until October 2025. He is also a recipient of the Colin Powell Award for soldiering, which he received in 2012. In his message to the Senate President, President Tinubu expressed strong confidence in General Musa's capacity to lead the Defense Ministry and further enhance Nigeria's security framework. Mr. Mohammed Badaru said he was quitting on health grounds. His resignation comes amid President Tinubu's declaration of a national security emergency, with plans to elaborate on its scope in due course. It also coincides with a period of heightened security challenges across the country, with the government under pressure to deal with a spate of mass kidnappings. Last week, the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights reported that at least 402 people, mostly school children, had been kidnapped since mid-November. Nigeria has granted asylum to Guinea-Bissau presidential candidate Fernando Diaz just days after a coup prevented the result of the recent election being announced. Nigeria's foreign minister says the 47-year-old who ran as a candidate for the Party for Social Renewal is under special protection at the Nigerian embassy following threats made against him. Mr. Diaz was the main challenger to Umaru Sissoco Embalo, who was seeking a second term as president and has left the country following the military takeover. Both Mr. Mbala and Mr. Diaz had claimed victory in the presidential poll held on November 23. The Page C party, the liberation movement that ended the Portuguese colonial rule, had been barred from fielding a candidate. The coup took place 3 days after the vote. The military suspended the electoral process, blocked the release of the results, and insisted it was acting to thwart a plot to destabilize the political unstable country. In the meantime, a delegation from the West African Bloc ECOWAS has been in the country, urging the military to step aside and release the results of the vote. The high-level delegation ended a mediation mission to Guinea-Bissau on Monday with no breakthrough, but pledged to continue talks with the coup leaders later this month. Led by Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio, the regional bloc traveled to Bissau seeking a return to civilian rule following the military coup last Wednesday. ECOWAS has condemned the coup and called for reinstatement of President Embalo, who fled to Brazzaville after being detained. In his absence, the military installed former Army Chief General Walter Inter as head of a transitional government that has already appointed a new cabinet largely composed of allies of the ousted president.
As we see, we've had today very fruitful discussions. Both sides have expressed their different concerns. On the part of ECOWAS, the chair of the authority condemned the coup and calls for the immediate restoration of constitutional order, which includes allowing the electoral process to a logical conclusion. On the other part, from the side of the high-ranking military officers. They express their reasons for why they take over of government. In their words, to ensure that they restore order and security in the country. The discussions have been very fruitful, and we look forward to further engagement that will bring this country back to constitutional rule and for the development, security, and stability of Guinea-Bissau and the people of Guinea-Bissau.
Here in Lagos, the wife of the state governor, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, has formally handed over the remodeled Gender-Based Violence and Family Support Center at the Gender Unit Police Command, Ikeja, Lagos. The wife of the governor said that the gesture was a shared commitment to justice, protection and dignity for survivors. Speaking at the event, she says sexual and gender-based violence is not just a crime but a violation of humanity, which remains one of the most pervasive human rights violations that affects nearly 1 in 3 women globally. She says the facility will help fast-track justice for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence and ensure their protection. Our correspondent, Titilayo Aberewo, reports.
Between August 2024 and July 2025, the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency reported a total of 8,692 sexual and domestic violence cases. Out of this figure, 5,063 are adult reported cases, while 3,629 represents reported cases of children. This disturbing figure has prompted the Lagos State government to construct a gender-based violence and family support center in Ikeja. The provision of this facility is the reason for this gathering, including the wife of the Lagos State Governor, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, wife of the Lagos State Deputy Governor, Oluremi Hamzat, and other senior officials of the Lagos State government and officials of the Lagos State Nigerian Police Force have all come to witness the handing over of the facility that would help drive justice for victims of gender-based violence.
There should be support for the victim. The little we have been doing, this is a welcome development to show that anyone involved or engaged in any gender violence, and even for the support for the family, is a welcome one.
The State Commissioner of Police applauded the wife of the Lagos State Governor for championing advocacy against gender-based violence and gives assurance of bringing perpetrators to justice.
A round of applause for the First Lady of Lagos State, because she remained the only person that have turned around this place. We are saying loud and clear that silence is no longer an option, but justice will never be out of reach, and justice will be delivered in every case promptly.
United Nations Population Fund, who is also supporting the Lagos State government in handling cases of gender-based violence, says the center would help tackle GBV cases promptly.
That this one-stop center, having its entirety, everything that is needed, is a very laudable initiative.
Addressing the gathering, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu says the facility will provide support services for survivors across the states.
This remodeled facility represents a symbol of sympathy, of empathy, justice, and state-driven protection. It now houses special interview rooms for sensitive case handling. I can confidently say that this is Lagos. We envision where survivors are not silenced, where justice is not delayed, and where every individual, regardless of gender, is protected and supported.
Government says the remodeled Gender-Based Violence and Family Support Center, named after Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, will go a long way in addressing issues of gender-based violence across the state and also ensure that victims receive all needed support and protection to move on with life. Titilayo Aberewo, Channels Television News.
Still in Nigeria, in neighboring Ogun State, the government has asked residents and workers around the 7 battery recycling factories shut down by the state government in Ogijo to voluntarily present themselves for examination to determine their status, the alleged lead poisoning incident in the area. The State Commissioners for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, and her environment counterpart, Olaore Sonya, made the admonition during an advocacy meeting with residents of the areas, where they also announced free treatment for anyone found to be affected by the emissions.
The meeting at the Palace of the Ologijo in Shagamu local government area was at the instance of the Ogun State government and was held to keep residents up to speed with what government is doing to douse the tension caused by alleged lead poisoning.
What do we do? Government are taking some steps.
Some traditional rulers, community leaders and youths are being enlisted as first responders in this advocacy engagement to strengthen information and communication about the development.
We pick you as leaders in the community. The CDC is a level of government. And from you, information will get to a street level. You are the one to tell the resident associations this information. You are free to record it, you are free to do whatever, so that play it for them. At street level, we don't want panic. We don't want panic. And the only thing they said is causing this problem is lead poisoning.
Our mission here today to allay the fears of the people of Ogijo, to let them know that the government is with them in this, and to make them aware that we have mobilized both national and international support. National in terms of NCDC and international WHO to support us in our response as a state to this emergency that is emerging in Ogijo community.
Some of the residents commend the government for the prompt response and request that factories conduct their operations according to international best practices.
Government is now showing will to act. The company has no choice but to respond. What we want is for them to comply with best practices so that the economic activities in Ogijo will not be negatively impacted. They will do the needful, they will still make their profits, and the people will have a healthy life.
The Ogun State government has been designated the Ogijo Primary Health Center for blood testing, while a laboratory is being set up to treat infected people free of charge.
And still to come. The Central African Republic celebrates Independence Day in grand style. Please stay with us for details. Welcome back. 16 days of activism is underway as we join the global call to action to the international campaign that runs annually from November 25, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, to December 10, Human Rights Day. The campaign is dedicated to raising awareness, mobilizing action, and ending all forms of gender-based violence against women and girls. This year, the campaign has a specific theme, which is Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls, which reflects the growing danger posed by the misuse of digital technologies. But this campaign is not only a matter of justice and safety, it also deeply connected to Sustainable Development Goal number 5 of the United Nations. SDG says, without gender equality and without freedom from violence, no society can truly progress. And to help us explore this connection, we're joined by Dr. Ero Ibafidon, a sustainable development advocate and founder Water Light Save Initiative, who has been at the forefront of championing gender equality, community empowerment, as well as sustainable solutions. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Right, let's begin with the significance of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. How does the campaign connect to the broader agenda of sustainable development?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I would say the 16 days of activism is quite strategic. It's a strategic movement. It's actually a movement that came up in order to demand accountability from government institutions
and also private sectors as well. So from violence against women and girls, each year you understand that a lot has been happening, and these days is actually escalating beyond what we actually hoped for. And one of the things we championed there was, which of course, Waterlight partnered with NAWO in that, which is the National Alliance for Women Organizations in the UK. Our topic was basically from bucket to safety. How does water access to safe drinking water lead to gender-based violence? We're able to elaborate on that and also provide solutions on what could be done. And several other people also championed this. And the First Lady of Kwara was also there to lend a voice on what the First Ladies are doing on a global scale to make sure that they actually combat the gender-based violence in each state. So a lot was said on that day, and the campaign is still on and is meant to end on the 10th of this month, so to say.
And in your experience, what development challenges become harder to solve when gender-based violence persists?
I would say a lot. First of all, like what you mentioned as regards water, when we take, for instance, in underserved communities where you have people that do not have access to safe drinking water, have to travel a mile to get water for their house, and suddenly things can happen within that journey. It leads to rape, it leads to a lot of other things. So what we're actually doing is a lasting solution that is sustainable. And just as recent, where we launched a blueprint moving communities from the era of aid to sustainable development. So, and gender-based violence, if it's not properly combated, it actually reduces the SDG 5, 3, 1, 4, 8, and so on, name it. So, if the government put things in place, laws that would help in shaping this drive, a lot to be done, and the gender-based violence will be reduced to its barest minimum.
And what interventions or programs have you seen that has been making a real difference in preventing or responding to gender-based violence? And particularly, how can government strengthen policies and enforcement to protect women and girls?
Thank you. I would say we are in the era of social media, and media is one of the biggest tools we could actually use in situations like this, if you ask me. Because if everybody comes out to start using their media to actually help in promoting gender-based violence and the need for it to stop, you understand that a lot to be achieved. We're also actually trying to get to start training the young ones, the young men, in order for them to be real advocates for gender-based violence, whereby we start with mentorship. And like I always say, not just the government, we as individuals, we as parents, we have a huge role to play as regards gender-based violence. What we teach our children from home is what they will take outside. So as parents, we should learn to actually start teaching our young men or young boys on how to actually help in combating gender-based violence. And yes, as regards social media, which I mentioned, if there is a way it could be regulated to its barest minimum, such that we'll use it for the right cause and not just having reasons for people to see the need or see that, okay, if this person have done it and nothing happens to it, this person can do it again and nothing will happen. But if government put in policies and actually make people accountable for actually victimizing these people and becoming like instrument to gender-based violence, I think a lot of people will slow down in this approach.
Dr. Ibafidan, thank you so much for your time again and for shedding more light on this very important issue.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Let's move ahead. The World Health Organization has congratulated the government and people of the Democratic Republic of Congo for the end of the most recent outbreak of Ebola virus in the country. On December 1, 2025, the Democratic Republic of Congo declared the end of the country's 16th Ebola virus outbreak. The outbreak was in Kasai province and began on September 4, 2025. A total of 64 cases, 53 confirmed, 11 probable, and 45 deaths were recorded. At a press conference on the health emergencies, WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus also briefed on the outbreak of the Marburg virus disease declared in Ethiopia.
Today marks the end of the most recent outbreak of Ebola virus disease in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I send my warmest congratulations to the government and people of the DRC, especially in the affected community of Bulape. The outbreak was declared in September, and there were 64 confirmed and probable cases with 45 deaths. We honor the memory of those who died, especially those who lost their lives while serving others. WHO is proud to have played our part in bringing this outbreak under control, in support of the Ministry of Health, national public health institutions, and alongside our partners. It's important to remember how far we have come in our fight against Ebola. When Ebola devastated West Africa a decade ago, there were no approved vaccines or therapeutics against it. Now we have both. Ebola is a preventable and treatable disease that can be stopped. An outbreak of Marburg virus disease was declared in Ethiopia over 2 weeks ago. So far, 12 confirmed cases have been reported, including 8 deaths. 3 patients have recovered and 1 is still under treatment. The government of Ethiopia is leading the response and WHO is supporting as requested. We're providing testing supplies and protective equipment for health workers and deploying experts to support local authorities.
Chad has marked its Freedom and Democracy Day in N'Djamena with a grand military parade to commemorate the rise to power of the late President Idris Deby in 1990. Incumbent President Mohamed Idris Deby attended the ceremony, joining officials and citizens to watch a military parade and a march. The date, December 1, also marks the fall of President Hissène Habré, whose regime ended after a military coup by Idris Deby, paving the way for what became known as the era of democracy. Similarly, the Central African Republic marked its Independence Day with a military parade in the capital, Bangui, featuring participation from UN peacekeeping forces, followed by a traditional canoe race. President Faustin Touadéra attended the events, overseeing the parade from a vehicle and greeting troops and spectators along the route. The CAR parade also featured soldiers marching in formation, military vehicles and cavalry units. Colorful smoke filled the streets and planes flew ahead. Independence Day, celebrated on December 1, marks the country's independence from France in 1960. Military parades are a central tradition. Over time, the event has also incorporated competitions and local festivities. And as we end the program, did you know Libya, situated in North Africa, borders the Mediterranean Sea with land borders shared with Tunisia, Algeria, Niger, Chad, Sudan, and Egypt. It's the 4th largest country in Africa and the 16th largest in the world, covering over 1.7 million square kilometers. Approximately 90% of the country is covered by the Sahara Desert, though the coastal areas are more populated and support agriculture. Well, now you know. That's our show today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.